My name is Dr. Christopher Conacher. I am a staff psychologist at the Counseling and Student Development Center at Bucknell. And what I'd like to do today is just kind of talk a little bit about our services here, the mental health services that we provide, how students can access them, what it looks like for a student to come in and talk with us, also to talk with you all about like some of the common experiences of our students, and show you our website a bit, but really what I want to do is tailor this presentation to your needs. So if either of you have any questions or are looking for any particular information, I want to make sure that we cover that. So please feel free to share that if you like. To get started, the Counseling and Student Development Center here at Bucknell, we are a pretty well-resourced center. We have 8 clinical staff members who are full-time. We have varying backgrounds. We have a staff psychologist. We have several staff counselors, and we have a social worker who serves as our clinical case manager, and we have 2 administrative assistants. And so we have a pretty decent sized team, and we're actually expanding our staff at the moment. Hang on just a second as I admit somebody else. Rose, welcome to the meeting. I'm just getting started. My name is Chris Conacher. I'm a staff psychologist at the Counseling and Student Development Center.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Likewise. So I was just getting going in terms of talking a little bit about the center and our staff. We have a fairly good sized staff for the size of the school. We have 8 full-time clinicians with varying backgrounds. We try to meet the needs of our students by having different staffs with different training backgrounds, staffs with different personal identities, different lived experiences, and that sort of thing, because we find that many of our students prefer to meet with somebody who they feel like is a good fit for them, and they don't have to explain what it's like to live in this type of setting or grow up having experienced these type of challenges. And so we try to have a relatively representative staff. We see roughly 20% of the students in a given school year. So 1 in 5 Bucknell students in a given school year will come to our offices. And the amount of sessions that any particular student engages in will vary from student to student. We have many students who will see maybe somewhere between 1 and 4 or 5 sessions. We have other students who we see nearly on a weekly basis through the entire academic year. Usually those students are presenting with more difficult to treat mental health concerns, or they may not have as great of access to resources as some of our other students. So we want to try to prioritize those who are in greater need, but we still manage to see, like I said, 1/5 of our students. And we do not have a wait list. We have not had a wait list in the time that I've been here. Generally, most students are able to access our services within approximately a week or so, which if anyone has ever tried to access mental health resources through insurance companies or that sort of thing, usually you're talking about at least a 2-week wait list or something like that. So it's something that we don't have here. And our staff is pretty well, we're pretty well trained in a lot of different areas. So for the most part, we kind of operate like a generalist physician in a doctor's office. So most of us have a wide range of things that we can see. Realistically, if somebody has like a really significant mental health concern such that they require either daily treatment or weekly treatment or needs to be hospitalized, then they're not a good fit for us, and we'll help the person, but we'll also help the person get set up in whatever treatment modality or treatment setting is most appropriate for them. But we are pretty good at seeing the vast majority of the cases that students bring to us. Some of the more common presenting concerns, anxiety is the biggest one, and that's a nationwide phenomenon. We have a lot of students who are anxious. I personally feel like, there's a lot going on in the world that stresses a lot of us out, and a lot of our students, I think, bear a lot of that as they move forward. Deborah, to answer your question, we do not prescribe medications ourselves, but we have a psychiatrist on staff who does prescribe medication. The only caveat to that is if a student is coming to receive psychiatric services from our office, then they have to be regularly seeing one of us, because the psychiatrist, in order to provide appropriate levels of care, needs to have a sense of what's happening for the person, and the person needs to be seeing one of us. It regularly doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be, once a week or anything like that. Like if a student is stable, we'll see them like, once a month or something like that. And it doesn't even have to be a long check-in, but we just want to make sure the student's doing well. So a lot of times in this business, when somebody asks a question, it depends, but we do have a provider of psychiatric medications here as a member of our staff. A couple other things before I get into our website. We generally try to make sure that students can access us at any time. So we have a number of different services available in addition to regular counseling, and I'll get into that in a second. So let me take you to the website. I'll be honest, we have one of the most unwieldy website addresses that I've ever encountered, and I don't even like to try to give it out because I have a hard time remembering it most of the time. So what I usually encourage people to do is just to Google Bucknell Counseling Center. That's the easiest way to get there, and I promise you it's a lot easier than trying to remember the whole website. And so I'm gonna open up our website and take you there and kind of show you some of the ins and outs of it. But please ask any questions that you have, and I'll just kind of show you how to navigate this. All right, so this is our website, and we are located in the Graham Building, which is right next to Student Health.
I'm sorry. I don't see anything.
It didn't come up?
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody else can. I see something that says screen share, but I don't see an actual screen share.
Yeah.
Let me try that again. Thank you
For me.
for sharing that, Rose.
No.
Shot.
Did it come out now?
Yep, I see.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we are located in the Graham Building, which is also where Student Health is located. We're right next door to each other. And generally for our students coming in, during the initiation tours, you'll actually be taken there so that you get a sense of where it is. And it's not far from the ELC, which is the closest we have to like a union building on campus. So we're pretty centrally located. Our hours are between 8:30 and 4:30, Monday through Friday. However, we also offer crisis appointments 24/7, 365. So if a student wants to set up regular services, we have a couple of options for that. And I'll start there. So for our in-person services, primarily we do individual therapy is what we primarily offer. We are in discussion about whether we want to run some group therapy during the fall, and we're still kind of working that out. And if a student would like to schedule our services, they have three options. The first is to reach out to us via phone, and our phone number is on the website, but I'll also give it to you. It's 570-577-1604. And you can see it right here. Another option is a lot of times our students will see one of us on campus, and because we go out and give presentations and that sort of thing, they'll have they'll have our email addresses, and so they can email the specific person, or they can just email the center at its site or at its email address, and we'll happily schedule a person that way. The other option is online scheduling, which you see the link for. We are actually in right now, it's just poor timing, but we're in the midst of revamping all that. So I'm not going to take you into it because it's not going to look anything like it will later. And it's kind of clunky at the moment. So I don't want to scare you all with that. But please know that we are in the process of revamping it even as we speak. But what a student can expect is they can, once they make contact with us, we will reach out to them to schedule them with a appointment, or if they've called in, we'll schedule them with an appointment at their earliest convenience that fits into our schedule. And like I said, that's usually within a week. Sometimes it's like a week and a half, but we often have people come in for their first appointment, like within a day or so of the initial contact with us. For students who are seeking regular services, what will happen is they will come in, meet with one of us, and we will talk with them. It's called an initial assessment, and the idea of the initial assessment is for us to get a sense of the person and the presenting concerns, and for the student to get a sense of us. From there, we will determine who might be the best fit of the people on staff, and then try to fit that student with that person. Again, it'll happen quickly, so they should be able to see whoever that person is within a week. And from there, our services are generally offered every other week. However, depending on the need of the student, we do offer weekly if needed. If a student needs to be seen weekly or more often than that, though, we're probably looking to see if there might be a better fit for the services because we can't always promise that. We want to make sure that we are able to provide students with what they need. If that is the case, though, we will never abandon the student. We will always make sure that a student is able to work with us until we can find a more appropriate level of care for them if that's what they need. But by and large, the vast majority of students who come in for these assessments end up working with us if they choose to do so. We also offer same-day phone appointments or individual one-on-one crisis appointments. So students have the option of calling into the center at any time of day, and if they need to talk with one of us, we'll talk with them within, say, 20 minutes of the time that they call in. And so we always want to make sure that we are available for the students. And oftentimes a student might be really struggling or feeling like, they don't know how to access services, or they're uncomfortable, or they just really need to talk with someone right now. So that's what those appointments are generally for. And like I mentioned, we have 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year emergency services. And so if a student is having a mental health emergency, particularly if they're having thoughts of wanting to end their life, or if they're having like something like they are having like a significant manic episode, if they have something like bipolar symptoms, or if they're having what we call psychotic features, which are the type of symptoms one has if they have schizophrenia. We will help them out as soon as we hear from them, and they can access our services just by calling our phone number, which is the one that you see on the screen. And after hours, you just choose option 2, and it will put you with our on-call counselor, and we will work with the person and help them. So do any of you have any questions about this service while I'm talking about it? The other thing I want to get into is talking a little bit about our staff members. Like I said, we have, sorry, I went to the wrong place. We have, go ahead.
Is this inclusive of the tuition for all students, or is there a subsidy that they need to pay or a fee for service?
Thank you for asking. I forgot to say that this is free. This is part of, it's already paid for through any student's tuition. So our services, you will get no fee for our services. We don't charge insurance or anything like that. And there's no quote unquote session limit unless, like, I shouldn't say unless. occasionally, like I said, we might find a student who needs a higher level of care than what we can ethically offer the person, and we'll help the person get to that point, but we will never not see a student, if that makes sense. Our staff, like I said, consists of a wide variety of professionals. Gina Bavero is our director. She's really skilled clinician and also a really understanding leader. You can see the names. Our case manager is Erin Boyer. She's a social worker who has a really broad understanding of the resources in the local community and is really helpful. Like, for instance, sometimes we have students that come in that may need help with things because a lot of our students come here on scholarships, so they don't have the financial resources as other students. And so Erin's really good at helping them if they need to find ways to get to other appointments, for instance, or if they need to have other more auxiliary type of services. She's really brilliant at taking care of that. But you can look through these. I just want to kind of give you a sense of some of the people we have on staff. My bio's here. Christina Johnson is our multicultural specialist. She is a wonderful clinician and she specializes in helping the students who come from backgrounds where they feel like they may not fit in with a lot of the typical Bucknell students. And she's very popular among our students. And so I'll just allow you all to kind of look through our staff members, but we do have a relatively we try to have a relatively representative staff, like I said, and we try to be good fits for students of a lot of presenting concerns. In terms of other things to talk about, I want to kind of get into really quick, like some of the aspects of our services that sometimes are difficult for both students and parents, because I think that oftentimes parents are wanting to be supportive of students, but they're also often left in the dark because because we have confidentiality and the student is maybe not sharing what that is. We generally welcome parents to call in. Now, we may not be able to share information, but we really encourage the students to allow us, if they're willing, to give a letter, or excuse me, to give a release of information so we can talk to parents. That way, everyone can be involved in the treatment if appropriate. But we're always happy to hear from parents, and we want to be reassuring to you. We want to be helpful to you all. And so we do our best to make sure that even if we don't have a release, we can do our best to talk about how our processes usually go. We can often talk about, like, ways we would generally help somebody and that sort of thing. But we always want you all to feel welcome to call us or to reach out to us if there's anything that's coming up. Does anybody have any questions? I want to make sure that there's time for questions if anybody has any.
I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Ethan or Deborah, do you have any other questions that haven't been answered yet?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Sure.
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, I guess the last things that I want to share is we are very committed to providing the best mental health services available to our students. And by and large, the feedback we get from students is quite positive. Many of them report positive outcomes, and many of us work with students from the time that they get here to the time that they graduate. And oftentimes it's really emotionally satisfying, if a little bit bittersweet, to watch them graduate after we spent so much time together. But we have a very dedicated staff. I would say that one of my favorite things about working on this staff is all of us really love working with our students, and all of us really enjoy the process of getting to know them and helping them navigate the difficulties that they might encounter. The final thing I'll share is all of us also want to try to meet the student where they are and help them access their own strengths. We don't really work from a model of wanting to pathologize what's happening for our students as much as we just want to help them do the best that they can in navigating what they're trying to do. So if you all don't have any questions, I just wanted to give you a brief overview and talk a little bit, but I don't have a whole lot of more information unless you all would like more specific information. I just thank you all for your participation.